This is Captain Adam from Reel to Reel Outdoors. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Captain's Roundtable. Before we get started, we got to thank our great sponsors, Captain Chuck's 2, Ludington Beverage, and Busch Light. So let's meet the captains and get to the topic.
Kevin Pomorski. I'm a captain of Feed and Time Charters out of Ludington.
I'm Dennis Plamondon, captain of Clocked Out Charters of Ludington.
And I'm Alex Bialik of Fireplug Charters, just a little bit farther north in Manistee.
All right, how's everybody doing? Today's episode, we're going to focus on kind of what we've been fishing for the last few years. They kind of have a bad rep, and I'm telling you, if you haven't eaten lake trout in the last 5-10 years, you're crazy, because it's fantastic table fare.
Yep.
Their diet has changed. The round goby is a prey fish of theirs now. It's not all alewife, and their composition's different. I think the fat content's different.
Yeah,
in the fish, and it's they're tasty fish. So we do a lot of trout fishing. If you're a tournament fisherman, you want to be successful in tournaments, learn lake trout. Like, you have to learn lake trout.
Even if you're a weekend warrior, you got to learn it if you're trying to make a day. If you only have so many times you can come up.
Yeah, I mean, I know people say, they don't fight or blah blah blah. They do. The fight is.
It's different.
The fight is but the fight is not getting fish to bite.
The bite.
That's the bite is the thing. I mean, for me especially, the challenge is getting fish to bite. If you can go out and catch 3 or 4 kings and then add 7 or 8 lake trout, that's a good box of fish.
Yeah, any day.
Mm-hmm. And you can do this by just really dedicating 1 or 2 rods to trout, and that's kind of the way it is. When the kings aren't there, you can't catch something that isn't there. It's actually been proven. It's not fake news.
We've tried a bunch.
Yeah. So anyways, we want to just kind of, we'll just kind of each go through our, let's call it our 9-rod trout spread. So it's kind of like a tournament limit trout spread. It's you can run suspended baits up high and catch a lot of trout on them.
Because you don't want them all on bottom.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, depending on the depth of water, if you're in shallower, I'd say the more isn't better in shallow water.
I agree.
You could spook.
Yeah. And as you get deeper, more is not better, because you can get tangles that will absolutely, you can't recreate what can happen. The current is a wicked thing. And so let's talk about it, and then let's talk about maybe some things to help people be successful in learning how to do it. Who wants to go first? Should we go wisest to least wisest?
Youngest to oldest.
Youngest to oldest.
I think I started the last one, but that's fine. We'll be okay.
So oldest.
I'm the oldest. I'll go last.
That's fine.
All right, you're old.
All right. I don't have to go.
I'll pick up on everything you left.
I don't have to go last.
No, I'm oldest.
Yes,
that's fine. And I'm going to start because it's in my charter career, which has been since I could walk, to starting on actually chartering when I was 11 and 12. Kings were.
But you're young.
Yeah, but
you're a pup.
It was the Kings were there, and that's what we had year round, and it didn't matter. But since I've ran my own boat, lake trout have played a big part in my business, and saving some trips and some days for me. So again, like you said, you can't fish for something that's not there, and those kings with the water temps we have, they're not there all the time. So a typical morning would be out of Manistee. We have what we call the hook, which is on our shelf, and it's just north of the pier heads. And everyone used to think you had to go north to catch trout out of Manistee, but it really is south as well. As long as you're near that break and outside what I call the scum line on the bottom, there's trout near bottom. And as we've talked about, they're going to be suspended too. When you get a 10 color ripping every now and then, it's going to be a lake trout, and you get your heart pounding for a little bit. And that's what you were talking about. The fight isn't necessarily different. It's just not what you're used to. So I mean, it's just it's those lake trout just dog you more than rip drag. It's still awesome for anybody, but I'm gonna run. Typically, I'm gonna run a big paddle down the chute, suspended about 15, 20 feet off bottom with a big white meat rig or a riverside behind it. Typically something slower moving, so 45-inch lead sometimes. And then both corner on the outdowns, I'm going to have chrome and green, chrome and chrome, chrome and blue, spin doctors, 8 inches typically with spinning glow. Color all depends on me on water clarity and kind of what I've seen as a pattern. And then after that, I'm going to go to my downriggers, to my wire divers. And my wire divers are going to be dragging bottom. I'm making a ditch with them. Yeah. I hit bottom. I'm going to let them out another 10, 20 feet, again, depending on how rough the water is. And that's going to have the same setup, chrome and blue with some kind of spinning glow. Anywhere from 20 to 25 inches behind that spin doctor. Then as I come up, my high divers, some people dig them in the dirt as well. I keep them up. Those fish suspend. They're chasing bait fish, especially if you're marking them. And I'm going to run a fly on one with a 8-inch spin doctor, double crush glow, and then Riverside or a pickled sunshine behind it, or a dog bone by KRW as well. And then the other side is going to be either a meat rig or a spinning glow just suspended. And then I'm going to go to my 2 boards. It's going to be a 10 color. And then the other one, depending on how deep I'm fishing, is going to be 250, 200 copper with something dark as a spoon. If it's a purple hornet or something like a green hornet, both Pro Kings, and then raspberry carbon or a carbon 14.
Yeah.
And those would be my 9.
It's a good spread.
Yeah. That's some new stuff for me.
Yeah.
All right, second from third from the wisest, I guess.
Wisest, or are we going by wisest or age?
The oldest. It's you,
Oh,
Kevin.
all right.
Kevin, here you go. Feed
Well,
time.
you were talking about. All right. Anyway, I would say I would start out my riggers out and down. I like them just kind of tapping. I don't like them hitting really hard. If it's really rough and it's hard to get them to not hit hard, then I'd rather have them not hit at all. I don't want them slamming down slack in my downrigger cable, but I would have chrome spin doctors, chrome Mountain Dew, chrome and green, and then the copper, the all copper or bronze, whatever you'd want to call it. Leads about the same, the mid 20s to high 20s in length, maybe even 30, 32 inches.
Similar to what you'd run.
Yeah.
With a fly.
Fly lead. A lot of people are kind of these days into the skirts. I ran them a long time ago before. I mean, you and I both did, before they started selling them that way. They do great. I think there's pros and cons.
Did you run them for more body to them or just something different?
I think it was more something different.
Yeah.
And I think there's pros and cons. You start getting like the grass, the seaweed, the algae, it just gums them up more.
Yep.
It just makes it worse. So there's times that they might work better, but there's times you got to know, just don't put them down. And to cut them shorter. If you're making your own, cut them a little shorter.
Yeah, I like them even shorter than a teaser.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
Like a
something
meat
a
rig
little
teaser,
extra.
just almost
like
like
a-
between a coho fly,
Coho fly.
a little bit longer than a coho fly, and a little bit shorter than a teaser.
But anyway, I mean, on my downriggers, I would have the chrome Mountain Dew, the bronze, and then maybe chrome green, or those are probably. I mean, those are pretty good ones for my riggers. Whirligigs, the blue, and I'm not good with the names on those.
Really, like
The
blueberry,
blue chrome, blueberry,
yeah.
blue chrome with the
Chrome blue dots.
chartreuse dots.
tip.
And
Glow
then
blades.
both my wires, I don't like them digging like you said. You're digging trenches. I don't like to dig. I like them tapping. You just ticking. But I mean, to each their own. I mean,
Yeah,
And it depends on bottom structure as well. If I'm around rocks, you obviously can't. You're going to lose stuff pretty fast.
yeah, right.
So
we have a lot of clay in Ludington too, where it'll be sand for
Clay.
a mile,
Yep.
and then clay for 100 feet.
yeah, and we're more sand to rock. I mean, it's
Yeah,
noticeable.
You can't,
Yeah.
you can't bounce the clay thing is bad.
But I would probably throw some white blades on there, spin doctors. Once again, like I said, I've done this or like you said, I guess I've done this for a lot of years, and not as many as Fuzz here, but
The wiser.
But when I started, it was all Dodgers, and it was all cowbells and spinning glows, and now it's transitioning more into spin doctors, and I don't run a lot of those anymore. A lot of the Dodgers and cowbells. So I would say spin doctors on my divers, the white ones, not necessarily glow, and I don't really know the names of them, to be honest with you. I'm not good with the trout names.
I don't think that
realistically.
I don't think a lot of it doesn't necessarily matter as much. It's really the presentation of it.
Yeah, I mean, how it's hitting bottom.
Yeah.
I think colors do matter.
Well, I think colors do, but I don't think like a pattern in the color matters.
Yeah, the pattern itself.
I'm gonna say it's more consistency that I see than anything else.
Yeah.
Like if they're biting on whites,
I mean,
whites. They're biting on chromes, they're biting on chrome.
Trout candy has been proven over and over and over. And it's
But-
chrome blade with Mountain Dew tape on the back.
Yeah.
But that is like where I'll transition what they're biting on color wise to coppers, cords, stuff like that.
Sure.
The suspended, the Jared, the Yak Lightning, Yak Jared. Those are both good suspended trout baits.
They do good at that speed.
Yeah,
too.
and you're running a spin doctor hotter than you would a Dodger or cowbells.
And it's more forgiving.
Yeah,
You can run it all different
it's easier.
speeds. You can go really slow with it. You can go really fast with it.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So I guess those are.
That's your rig, huh?
I guess I didn't get too.
So
I'm not good at it.
I think that, yeah.
Talking about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're a good trout fisherman. I'm not good at it. Yeah. Right. Okay. Anyways.
That's what you want to say once you give someone advice over the internet.
Yeah.
Not good at it.
I'm not good at talking about it.
Kevin,
Fair enough.
Kevin fished with George for many, many years, and Kevin and George together are one of those combinations. And George is an exceptional trout fisherman, and I think that you brought some of that. Together you guys were a really good team.
Yeah, we used to be, I mean, we were
elite. Absolutely, yeah. A different level.
Yeah,
Different
individually they were very good.
Yeah.
Together they were pretty elite.
Yeah, and
really.
I think like Micah and I mean,
You may not
Same
hear
thing.
me say that again.
I consider myself to be a pretty solid fisherman. I consider Micah to be a very solid fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that we fish together
You're better.
we're better.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's we don't talk a lot. You and George didn't talk a lot.
No.
I would go fishing with George and Kevin. They would set everything. They would make changes. They would never talk to each other. And they knew exactly what the other guy was doing. And I never got it until
You got a little buddy on your
we're
shoulder.
infested with spiders today. I never understood it until Mike and I started to fish together. And Mike and I are in that. It's just the connection that we have it's different. It's a different thing.
And I watched it this past summer. I hopped on the boat one time, and I was like, "These guys like each other very much." Hey, but they're catching fish from 18 rods and nothing's tangled. And you're going, "What in the world?" And both sides are taking fish. It didn't matter.
So we fish trout, I think, a little bit different. We fish electric reels, which gives us kind of that. Our divers are electric reels, so we're fishing, 5, 6, 7, 800 feet out on our high divers. We're running regular size. We don't run double mags. We catch a lot of fish on those, but we can get the bite and land the fish. And I think it's hard to do on conventional, just on a level wind. It's just a lot of line to pick up without making a mistake, without going slack. I mean, kings are an awesome fight. The runs are incredible, but lake trout are not easy to land.
They have a soft mouth.
You can't make a big mistake. You can't put too much pressure on that fish first thing. Mm-hmm. But if you don't put enough pressure on that fish first thing, it doesn't come up where you need it to come up.
And you don't want it coming up out of the water.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually will hit a fish on an out and down, and it's down 200 feet, 300 feet, whatever it's down. That fish is going to come up way behind the boat. It's going to happen. Normally we hit that fish, we immediately slow down. Even if we don't have to, we'd slow down to try and get the fish to come up closer to the boat.
Less tension.
And we will have that rod buried in the water. And if that fish is on the surface, we will go to neutral. Whatever we have to do to keep that fish in the water. And we consistently land a lot of our fish, Those are the things the different things that we're doing. I think we start to fish, our shallow end of lake trout is where most people stop. And we fish all the way out to 200 plus feet and really focusing just on trout. So, it's a big learning curve out there. And I don't think people are going to share a lot of the information. Like, you have to figure it out. But at the same point, it's the same concepts. It's just you can't put as much down there. You can't get greedy and try and put 2 downriggers down there and 4 divers. You're going to have problems. It's going to get tangled. There's a lot of current in between.
Well, especially when you throw long coppers outside of those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we wouldn't run any of that.
You throw long coppers out there and you're just asking for a disaster if a fish hits those divers.
So I'll just say, this is kind of our setup. If we're 160 feet or shallower, it would, we're going to have our 4 divers. We're going to have probably a couple of cores that are up high, just with, lightweight spoons. So like a yak or, probably a Jared, probably a lightning. Could be even a fireball or something like that. We're going to try and catch that fish that's randomly out there. We're doing that on purpose so that stuff's not in the way. It's way out to the side. It's way up high.
And it's way out.
And we're not dealing with something coming up into it. We normally only fish our out and downs. And then, so maybe our out and downs are bouncing bottom. We're in 165 foot. The chute probably has a 10-inch spin doctor, something like that. And it's only fishing at 100. And if we get a bite on the out and down, we're probably going to pull that immediately. Just get it out of the way. Don't let it get tangled. The big thing is not allowing things to get tangled, getting things out of the way. We'll do that a lot with our coppers. If we're running a copper, if we get a bite on a high diver, the copper comes out. Doesn't matter. It's not tangled yet, but it's not going to get tangled because we got it out of the way. So those are the things. Baits, very similar to what everybody else is saying. I don't think there's a lot of discrepancy there. I think that being able to fish the spin doctors with whirligigs or spinning glows, it's more speed tolerant. You can go faster. Yep. You can cover more water. You can slow down and still be effectively fishing. We still fish Dodgers. We still fish some cowbells. We use the moonshine cowbells a lot, very often on our low wires or on an out and down that's not producing. So we try to be very, effective. We use some glow blades, which I don't know how many, people have tried that, but I recommend you try it. The glow blades seem to produce some fish. So that's kind of our setup.
Well, you guys.
All right, senior officer.
You've all covered it. Everyone has their theory on their lake trout program, and my theory is a little bit less than all these other ones. And I get that from fishing a lot of rough water. And what I've learned in the past is a little bit less is better. When I was younger, I wanted to run 5 boards aside, 4 divers, all my riggers when it was 6 foot. But you know what I did most of my time was untangle rods. Yeah. Okay. And so what I have come to believe is that even lake trout fishing, I think less down on the bottom is better. I don't run a lot of stuff on bottom. I don't run all my divers on the bottom. I run only usually my 2 out and downs on bottom, and usually my 2 lows on bottom. And that's it. That's why I usually never have more than 4 rods at one given time on bottom. My out and downs, both of them are, the chrome with the Mountain Dew, whatever they call it, lake trout candy.
Yep.
And then the only thing that I will change is either the whirly gig or the spinning glow, whether it's a Mountain Dew or whether it's the, that blue with the blue dots and the white wings.
Yep.
Those 2 are probably my most solid, for sure, baits behind the spinners. My divers, same deal. I'm running the same baits on all 4 rods, essentially. My chute, I always run off the bottom because generally my chute has my probe on it, and I don't want to. I don't want to lose my probe. So, if my out and downs are on bottom, my chute's 10 feet off bottom. If I'm in 120 foot, my chute's at 110 always, because. I've been pretty lucky in my life. I've lost 1 probe, and that was last year.
We'll knock on wood.
And it wasn't from banging bottom either. It was just mechanical failure. But I don't run a lot of stuff on bottom. I don't 4 rods. At most. I do occasionally go to a fender or a Dodger.
Yep.
Like if I got one that's just not going, I'll switch it around. I'll put a Dodger down with either a squid or something that we used to catch fish way back in the day with, and a lot of times it will catch fish. So, in addition to what you guys have said, and I guess one other thing I thought about was, on my riggers, I don't ever use my release on my normal release on my riggers.
Oh yeah,
I actually have.
I didn't talk about that either.
I actually have my own little lake trout, release, which I know a lot of you, and I know you guys all have. So basically, a lot of times lake trout will bite, and no one sees the bite, and you drag them around, right? Well, so what we do is we take maybe a 18-inch piece of mono with a swivel at each end. One end of the swivel goes to the back of the downrigger weight. The other end of the swivel goes to your rod, and we use a rubber band. So we wrap the rubber band around the line into the swivel.
Yep.
So when the lake trout's biting on that thing, you got 18 inches of line doing this, and so it's magnifying the rod. The rod's actually moving.
You'll see it in the rod,
and there's a bite there. So,
but you have to watch those rods.
You got
the entire time, because that fish might shake its head for
one time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully it's going to shake its head for 3 seconds.
Right.
And if you don't see it, it might not shake its head again for 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Like you were saying, I mean, soft mouth. I mean, that hook could pull now.
Just like that. Yeah. Or if the fish has been dragging for 10 minutes and you didn't realize it, how big's the hole in that thing's mouth now?
Yeah. Right.
So, you know, I think it's the other thing with trout fishing isn't for the faint of heart. It's not easy. It's a lot of work. You have to constantly check stuff. You have to constantly reel stuff in. You have to clean stuff off.
Check for fish.
Check for fish. I mean, if you got a rig that's going and going and going and it stops and you're not checking it,
Probably fish on
it's
it.
probably a fish on it.
Yep.
And you're not going to catch another fish until you get that fish off. So, you know, it's a lot of work, but it's fun.
It's a lot of fun, especially if you got two guys working the
Yeah.
back.
If you're by yourself,
it's hard.
it's hard. It just really is.
You're constantly have a rod in your hand. If it's a
Yeah.
fish, if it's checking stuff, whatever it is.
But if you want to be, you know, if you want to, at least currently with the, you know, the king levels where they're at, if you want to fish tournaments, learn trout.
If you want
You
to
need
put
to
a
learn
decent
trout.
box together, I mean,
The biggest
regularly.
So, you know, Kevin told me this, I don't even know how many years ago. And the big thing, like, you can't win a tournament day one, but you can lose a tournament day one.
Yep.
And you have to catch all your fish. And nowadays, really, if you catch your limit of fish 2 days in a row, you're going to be right there in the top 10.
Top 5, yeah.
Yeah. You know, and in pro, probably top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we, the big boys this year, you know, Dennis fished with us this year. Great addition to our team. We have a good, solid group of fun guys, and it really is a good time. But we caught all our fish day one, all our fish day two, and we were the only boat that caught all their fish either day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody caught 12 fish either day other than us, and we did it both days, and that's huge.
And we did it early.
Day two, we did it early. Day one, we did not do it early. But anyways, you know, embrace the trout. I mean, if you love to fish, get out there and fish for them. Figure it out. It's a fun fishery. It really, truly is.
And don't let their bad name discourage
absolutely.
you. They are good eating. I mean, and I'm not just saying this.
Clean them. Take the mud vein out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Clean them properly.
Clean them properly.
Cook them properly. And
Yeah. Don't put them in your freezer for a year.
yeah.
You know, cook them.
I would take them over a salmon.
I would.
I agree.
I do
And
too. I'm
it's-
the same way, and I that's not a lie. It's not.
It's not a charter. It's not a charter thing in us.
No.
It's
No.
truly.
It's true.
I would rather eat that because you can do it so many other ways than what you can do with salmon.
And it's great. I mean, it really truly is great table fare, and once you get into it and trying to figure them out and really trying to like develop an entire program for lake trout, it's fun. It really is a fun thing.
Yep.
So, anyways, as always, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned something. Tune in again. Hit the reminder bell.
Notification.
I was so close this time. Hit the notification bell. You know, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for checking us out today. If you're listening on a podcast, you know, make sure you subscribe. We have a couple podcasts every week going out, and we'll have YouTube stuff at least once a week going out. If something you'd like to see, make a comment, send us an email. Check us out on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and all those kind of good social stuff. Maybe we'll expand to the Twitter or something.
Right.
Yeah. So anyways, tight line. See you guys, and cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.